Hey guys, it's Han. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a tack tour slash how I tack up for dressage. First things first, you want to groom your horse, which I've already done, so Fletcher is ready to go. For dressage, I've mainly been using two pads, either the grey weather beater or my recently purchased Shock-A-Mole saddle pad. If you guys watched my recent tack haul video, you would have seen that I only very recently bought this saddle pad and I'm loving it so far. It fits Fletch really well. And I find that it dries really quickly even when he sweats up, which is great. I also use a half pad. The one I have at the moment is a woolen one by Kiefer. So the saddle I'm using on Fletch at the moment is a Bates Anova. I've actually owned this saddle for almost 10 years now, which is crazy. I'm not 100% sure if they still range them or not, but I absolutely love this saddle. At the time of buying this saddle, I actually tried quite a few and I landed on this one because it has a really nice deep seat and it has really nice big knee rolls, and I just find it so comfortable to ride in, and it's really versatile. Like, I think it's been fitted to like 4 different horses over it, like since I've owned it. The girth I'm using is a Wintec synthetic girth. It's an anatomical design, which basically means it scallops away from the horse's legs just to give them a little bit more freedom of movement and to avoid pinching them in those like sensitive areas. I always have bought synthetic girths. I know some people don't like them, but I find them super easy to clean. And the thing is with the Wintec ones, they're actually perforated, so they don't actually heat up as much as you think a synthetic girth might. I always do up the girth like 1 to 2 holes up, like just on the very lowest when I first put the saddle on, and then I like to slowly do it up a little bit tighter as I finish off, like put his boots on, put his bridle on and things like that. And I'm a little bit obsessed. You'll see me like tweak and like pull at the saddle blanket like a million times. I'm just really obsessed at making sure the saddle and the saddle blanket are like in that perfect position. After the saddle, I always put on my boots. So I'm currently using my PEI brushing boots. Once again, I bought these very recently and they were featured in my most recent tack haul, which I will link down below. They are pretty standard brushing boots. You basically do them up from the front with the straps going towards the back, which just means that they avoid putting pressure on the horse's tendon at the back of their leg. I also like to just run my hand down the inside of the boot once it's on. Number one, just to make sure the bottom of it doesn't get tucked up by accident, but also that the boot's actually low enough that it's going to protect Fletcher's fetlock. And I have this superstition where I always need to put on the front boots and then the back boots. I don't know why, but it's always been this thing where if I feel like I don't do it, I'm going to have a bad ride. So that's why you'll always see me do front boots to back. So I use a Boucher bit for dressage. I know some people think that this bit is a little bit controversial. Some people have said to me that it's a gag style bit, that it puts pressure on the horse's poll. It actually doesn't. They're designed to be fixed in the horse's mouth. There isn't actually any way for it to, I guess, lever and actually put pressure on the horse's poll. I did try him in a variety of snaffles when I first got him and he didn't really seem to settle into any of those. And then I tried the Boucher and it worked really well because it sits so still, it wasn't annoying him. And of course, I'm currently using the Mcclung Bridle. I do really like this bridle. I think it is more comfortable for Fletch. The one thing that I'm struggling with is the drop noseband. So it just does up very awkwardly. It does up right underneath his chin where there's a lot of soft skin. And you have to be really careful the way you do it up so that you don't catch them in the buckle as you do it up. The other thing is I find it hard to do it up tightly. So you'll notice in this video, I haven't done it up very tight. And so he's able to open his mouth a bit during our ride. So of course I am using my Rokel gloves. I absolutely love these. I've owned them for roughly 2 years now, and amazingly they've actually held up. I could never find a pair of gloves that would last longer than a few months, and then I bought these and they've just lasted so well. They do have a bit of wear, but that is way better than any other brand that I've bought previously, so I think I will stick to them from now on. Next I put on my Dublin helmet, which I love. I'm sad though, our regulations just changed on helmets and I think I'm gonna have to buy a new one, which I'm kind of devastated about. For my boots, I'm going to wear my Ariat top boots, and for my breeches, I'm wearing my Bare Equestrian tights, which I'm still loving. And for the top, I'm just going to wear my Equestrian Stockholm jacket. This jacket is perfect for me. It's so light, but it is so warm in there. I just love it. I also always stretch Fletcher's legs out just to make sure the girth isn't pitching any of the excess skin that sort of sits under his legs. So something I've been working on with Fletch is just to stand still once I get on him until I actually tell him to move forward. I don't know if any of you have owned racehorses before, but they often have it sort of built into them that you get on and you go straight away. So it's something you kind of have to break out of them, which Fletch actually is pretty good with, but I'm just making sure I'm reiterating all those basic things. So at the moment, Fletch and I are still just doing really light riding. For any of you who didn't know, he did injure himself, and it meant that he had almost 2 months off, coming off the back of 1 month off, which was what I gave him after we competed last year. So essentially he had almost 3 months off in total, so he lost a lot of muscle and he lost a lot of fitness. And because he is an ex-race horse, he is prone to a little bit of back soreness. So to try and negate that, the vet and I agreed that really I should only be doing straight line work to start off with. So a lot of the riding I've been doing with him is really just walking and trotting down the road, or just doing big laps of the arena, doing just really basic like straight line work. So very recently I've started to introduce a little bit of circles back into our routine, which you can see in this video. I usually would not ride him in such a long frame, but I'm still just keeping it very easy and light with him. I'm really just asking him to be straight and just to concentrate on me and just be relaxed and keep a nice rhythm. I'm not too concerned with his head carriage at this point. I more just want him to start to get back into the swing of things. When I start to feel that his, I guess, fitness has come back to some point, I will start obviously asking him for a more collected gait and something a little bit more upright. But for the moment, I'm just really happy with how he's behaving. He's being so relaxed considering how much time he's had off. I'm actually pretty blown away because he is typically a horse that is really hot-headed, and I was kind of expecting him to come back into work a little bit like a racehorse, I guess. I really like this clip because you can really see how he's trying to concentrate on me, but at the same time he just really wants to look at everything that's going on. He's definitely a horse that tries to evade you with weird little movement. He often does this thing where he'll bend from the pole and sort of overbend, or he'll tilt his head either to the inside or the outside. Another one of his favorites is to sort of throw a shoulder out and just drift off the line that you've chosen for him. So really I'm just trying to get his whole body to straighten up for him to use himself equally. And just please, side note, I know my position is just not ideal at this point. When you don't ride for 2 months, it's amazing how much of your balance you lose. Like every ride I feel like I'm getting back into things, but the first ride I had back I felt like I didn't even know what I was doing. Like I felt so messy and all over the place. I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. But it's just one of those things, like when you don't do it, you actually do forget. With Fletch, sometimes after the canter his adrenaline can be up a little bit, so I really like to bring him back to a walk and just get him to do something a bit more relaxed after our first canter. After we've maybe done some halts and some transitions, I'll then change the rein and canter him on his other leg. He sort of learnt that I canter one way, trot, and then canter the other, so he started trying to anticipate. So I have to try and break that habit now where we just trot and then maybe we walk and we do some other things so that he doesn't think we canter, trot, and then immediately canter off again. This is an exercise I really like for Fletch. It's basically where you bring them to a halt, you hold the outside rein and use your outside leg to ask them to turn in, and what you want is for their front legs to make a step but for their hind legs to pivot on the spot. It's been a really good exercise for Fletch because he's one to really drift off from your course, if that makes sense. So sometimes I'll be like asking him to turn left, and instead of just going yep and doing a nice sharp left hand turn, he'll start to turn left, but at the same time he'll throw his right shoulder out and sort of try to ignore me to go in the direction that he wants to go. So that way you can just kind of bring them back to a halt, be like, no, I said left, and then sort of make the very sharp, slow turn on the spot and then continue forward. So lately I've been trying to introduce the idea of like a warm down into all of my rides, which I did always do to some extent, but I've been really focusing on it lately because I think it's really important that you obviously warm up, but also warm down your horse and not just go from canter to stop, put away. So I've been doing a lot of trot work and then slowly trying to introduce long rein trotting, and he's actually picked it up pretty well. As you can see, we're still working on it. It's definitely a work in progress, but he was the horse that I used to give a long rein to and he would just pretty much take off, and now he's actually learning to just carry himself and just relax a little bit more. And my favourite thing to do at the end of every ride is that I take him down the road. As always, if you enjoyed watching the video, then please give it a like. And if you're enjoying watching Fletch and I, then please do not forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at han.equestrian.
Until you have the mask in your possession. To claim the mask.